Welcome to Tacoma News Network. I'm your host, Old Big Mek. This week's stories include drama at the Tacoma Open, rules are updated again, the Codex roadmap runs out, and the best game ever comes out this week. Welcome back to the Red Ones Go Fast. Old Big Mek here, and it's right, it is time to do the news, which is a segment that we've run off and on for a while, but now I'm going to try to lock it down and try to do it, every squig day. Yeah, that's right. We're back to doing a little bit of news, and I'm going to try something a little different here. Basically what happened is back before the Orc Codex came out, we started doing the news, a news segment where mostly we just kind of talked about things that pertain to Orcdom, because it is an Orc-based channel, but it's not solely Orcs. We obviously do everything 40k, quite a bit Kill Team, talk about Age of Sigmar and some of the other Games Workshop stuff here and there, and there's been a lot happening, and we've been talking about it, and I think that instead of trying to piecemeal it in the random videos or have a little sub-segment, we're just gonna talk about all of it for the week every Sunday. So let's give this a shot for a couple of weeks and see what happens. But yeah, we've got 3 stories plus a bonus this week, so let's get into it. All right, first things first, Tacoma Open. For those of you that have been living under a rock, the Tacoma Open happened a couple of weeks ago. So that is the U.S. Open Grand Tournament Series that Games Workshop puts on. There are 4 of them in the U.S. this year. There was Dallas, Tacoma, Tampa, and Atlanta are going to be the 4. Tampa is the one up next, but Tacoma just happened. Old Big Mek was there. If you haven't seen the videos, what the heck are you doing? Go watch them now. We did a whole bunch of stuff leading up to the Open, and then everything there. I did this really awesome 10-minute video that gave you a taste of what the whole event was. I did a more in-depth video. I did an aftermath video talking about it, and it was a really, really cool experience. However, there was drama. And again, for those of you that haven't watched all of these, this will be your nice little couple of minute update, and then you don't have to go watch everything. But if you do want the full stories and everything, definitely check out all the videos that came out about this. Positives and negatives, all right? First positive, it was the biggest grand tournament of all time. It was the biggest 40k tournament of all time. It was the biggest Kill Team tournament of all time as far as Games Workshop done stuff. I'm sure Adepticon or Gen Con or whatever might be bigger, but official Games Workshop tournaments, it was their biggest ever. There were 435 players registered for the 40k tournament. That is absolutely insane. They knocked it out of the park. The experience on the ground was great. The negative comes from afterward. You see, the person that won overall happened to be playing Orcs, but we don't claim that Git. He's no Orc. He's a cheater. There's no other way to put it. He was a cheater. Got caught red-handed. At the event, he got a couple of yellow cards. Got a 10-point reduction in the shadow round, which unfortunately didn't show up on his final score. There's rumors that the TO wanted to kick him from the tournament and that corporate overruled that after the whole flight stand controversy from a different tournament earlier this year. Yeah, it was just this whole mess. But the long and the short of it became Games Workshop really hasn't been able to do an article about Tacoma Open, despite being this massive success, because the person that won overall is a cheater. And I want to, again, if you want the full details, just go watch the videos. I don't want to really dig into it, but he was caught at the Open, allowed to continue on and keep all of his wins and stuff. And then when he tried to explain it away online in the week after, it didn't go so well for him at all. In fact, people were actually able to bring up a live stream from last year where this Git, again, no Orc player, he wasn't even playing Orcs in this live stream, his opponent asked him to clarify a rule because he's pretty sure it was against the rules, and this Git opens the Codex and reads one line and then skips the line that would specifically make it not happen, which is exactly what his opponent thought. And that just, straight up, man, there's no way to defend that. So the long and short of it is, he got enough pressure online that he backed out. So he completely backed out of the tournament. Let's show it to you now. So this was on Reddit on Warhammer Competitive. This was 5 days ago. dude's username is up there. But yeah, basically you can go and read this on Reddit if you want. But it talks about all of his reasons why he was doing things wrong and what happened. And he talked about having errors in past, years and whatnot. And then that's where people started coming in with, yo, dude, like right here, why did you misquote ancient machineries on Wargames livestream? You had the reference in front of you when you were reading it. Will you acknowledge this as intentional and unfair behavior? There's 282 upvotes on that. Yeah, so it just kept coming and coming and coming. But yeah, he has backed out. He has said, where is it? Right here. But yeah, right here. Forfeiting all points received from it, passing all rewards, including the golden ticket to Atlanta, trophy, etc., to Scott Ketchum. That's the person who played in the finals, who placed second. Now, is it a good thing that he dropped out and gave everything to second place? Yes. Is it a bad thing that needed to happen in the first place? Absolutely yes. Is it fair that it goes to Scott? Man, that's hard to say, because, this guy didn't just beat Scott. He beat 8 other people on his way there. There's 7 regular rounds plus a shadow round. And who knows what that would have done to the brackets. Really, he should have been pulled in the tournament, or he should have dropped in the tournament. And that's just, it sucks. It leaves a sour taste in everybody's mouth who was there. All the people that who played and won prizes in the Kill Team tournament and the new Age of Sigmar, the 4th edition tournament that was there, and the Spearhead tournament that was the first one ever. There was the Legions Imperialis and the Horus Heresy and the people from the painting competition and the narrative event and the hobby challenge. All got a raw deal out of this as well, plus everybody in the 40K tournament. So don't be a git, right? That's your takeaway from this news story. Moving on. The second story is even bigger. The rules are updated again. And again, for those of you that haven't been following along, we've got a lot of videos on all the rules updates. Look, old Big Mek is not the most competitive player, at least not anymore. Way back in the day, 3rd, 4th, 5th edition he was, but not 9th, 10th. The rules are just too complicated to follow. There's too much going on. You're basically playing a role-playing game and a card game like Magic the Gathering and a tabletop game at the same time. And I just don't work that way. I only want to play a tabletop game. I don't want a deck of cards. I don't want to have a character sheet full of all my enhancements and upgrades. I just want to have my army list and my army and move them and roll some dice and see what happens. And I think a lot of casual players like that too. And we're definitely going to have a deep dive video on casual play in 40K very, very soon. Something I'm working on with some of the guys up here. But yeah, competitive rules are updated again. And the way that they did it, oh, you're going to love this. Let's go to the tape. So this is Warhammer Community's website. This is where you go to get all your news, everything Warhammer. And you'll see this tiny little box right here that says there's been an update to Warhammer 40,000. And you click on that, and it tells you that there's been a few clarifications added to the core rules and the Pariah Nexus companion, and that you should go to the downloads and go download them, because of course here's where you go download it. The problem being, they didn't actually have that up on the site when these got updated. That didn't show up till the day after everybody saw what was going on. And yeah, it's a thing. So once again, everything in red is been updated. You see there's actually not much on here, but there is in the missions. They had to really mess with the secondaries again, and there is with an FAQ about the missions. And then the terrain here had a stealth update, which we'll get to in a second. In fact, that's why all these little arrows are red. And then where is... I know where it is. It's not in here, because it's in here in the core rules. Right here you see a little bit of red, and right here, that's right, pivot values again have changed again. Now look, old Big Mech's probably beaten this pivot thing to death, but it really makes a big difference on the game. What happened is 10th edition came out, rules came out, people were playing, and they were able to get an advantage out of turning their models before charging in, specifically after doing deep strike type things. And that really sucked, and it was unfair. And Games Workshop's Warhammer's response to that wasn't to stop allowing things to just deep strike in and then go charge. Instead, it was to do this weird pivot value thing where if your model pivoted on its base, there was a penalty. And the rules were really stupid because it didn't penalize the things that actually spammed them really hard, like Drukhari Raiders, and did really mess up things that didn't do it at all. And it was so bad that the Pariah Nexus mission pack, which was that first little set of rules we were looking at, had its own separate second set of pivot rules for anything in Pariah Nexus missions. So you had core rules were one way, Pariah Nexus was another way, and then in Tacoma Open, it was a third way. They had their own house rules for pivoting that weren't either of those, and that was stupid. And luckily, finally, somebody at Warhammer realized that, went, this shouldn't be a thing in a mission pack, it should be core rules, deleted everything, started over, made this new pivot value thing. So now it reads, and I'll go ahead and put it up on the screen. So, unless otherwise stated, the following pivot values apply. Models that are not on a round base, excluding monster and vehicle. So if you have a monster or vehicle keyword, ignore this. Otherwise, you either need to be on a round base or you get a 1-inch pivot. That's not too bad. So that's your jet bikes and orc bikers and outriders and things like that. Then you have monster and vehicle models that are not on a round base. Okay, easy enough. They have a 2-inch penalty. Makes sense. They're bigger. That works. Vehicle models on a round base that is wider than 32 millimeters with a flying stem or hover stand. Hey, there we go. Now we are finally addressing the Drukhari Raiders and the Eldar ships and things like that. And then you get aircraft models. They have their own rules. Keep using theirs. And then all other types of model are just 0 inches. Does this work? Yes. I think this is probably what they should have done in the first place. All of your non-vehicle, non-monsters that are on a round base, they can pivot as much as they want. No penalty. Because it makes sense, you're not going to get any more of a charge no matter what you do with this. And having it be a 1-inch penalty on non-monster, non-vehicle makes sense because all of your like mounted cavalry and things like that and the like funky Mechanicum characters that are on those oval bases, they're not that big. In fact, we measured them online, or on a video, and it was something like a 1/2 inch is the extra that they got. So a 1-inch pivot value like makes sense. I'm cool with that. The monster and vehicle models, if they're on a round base, they're free. It's 0, which again makes sense. You got Mr. Death Dread here. You rotate them. You measure them from the base. It's not going to make any difference. You're not getting any additional move out of that, so there should be no penalty for it, which is totally fine. And then they started saying, okay, vehicles that are not on a round base, so anything on an oval base, so all your orc buggies and things like that, all your things that are not on a base, because they're not on a round base, also have a 2-inch move, which is great, because that covers like your Mechanicum floating tank thingy that doesn't have a flying stand, and things like that. And then you get into the vehicles on the flying stand that is bigger than 32 millimeters. I don't know of any vehicle keyword things that are on a 32 millimeter base with a flight stand, but maybe there are. But yeah, basically any vehicle model that is on a flight stand or a hover stand has the 2-inch penalty as well, which is great because now it's like we were pointing out like Def Coptas, and there's this weird Adeptus Custodes jet bike. If the Def Coptas came with 2 different base sizes, depending on whether you bought the old ones or the new ones, the Custodes one is even worse. Both bases come in the box. Like you literally just get to choose which one you want. And so like to suddenly have which base you're choosing make a difference in game was really bad. Now it's the same. It doesn't matter whether it's an oval or whether it's round because it's on a flight stand. It's going to have that same 2-inch penalty. And that makes sense. I like this pivot rule. This is the way it should have been from the beginning. I just think that it's kind of bad that we're only 13 months into this edition and when we've had so many rules changes and they're bad, and then it takes another change after the biggest tournament they've ever done to finally get it right. And that's why competitive Warhammer isn't great. And that's why you should play non-competitive Warhammer, which again, we'll do in a whole nother video. All right, I think we beat that one to death. Next topic. Not next topic. There was one more thing to talk about that. I did say that the runes moved. So Pariah Nexus Mission Pack, it has these table setups for what the runes look like, and they were too tight. You couldn't actually get a lot of the models through. Things like, you know, Gorkanaut and Imperial Knights, things of that nature, let alone something like a Stampa. But I mean, you really couldn't get anything through. They were too tight together, and so they've shifted a lot of them to get some more movement in it. It's a good thing. I don't like that they're set tables. Back in the olden days, when old Big Mek started, the way it went was somebody would set up the table, and whoever didn't set up the table got to choose their deployment zone. That was a super easy way to make it fair, man, because if you set it all up to be super one-sided, guess which side your opponent was going to pick, right? So, of course, you're going to try to set it up as even as possible to make a good table. And, you know, and of course, it's just something that you and your opponent talk about before. And you go, hey, man, this is like a really tight table. I can't get anything through. Or you're like, yo, this is no man's land. There's nothing out here. I'm going to get shot to pieces. Like, you just want to have that good mix of, you know, having cover for things and being able to, like, get through it. Unless you're doing something like, you know, playing City Fight or, you know, Boarding Patrol, you know, those are specific tables. So, yeah, I have a hard time with the whole table thing to begin with. But they did update how far away all the runes were. So make sure you pay attention to that. That Pariah Nexus pack that you bought, throw it away. All right, that brings us to our final actual news story of the week, and that is that the Codex roadmap has run out. So back when 10th edition dropped in July of 2023, it also soon after, you know, they had the whole little contest thing with who was going to get the first Codex, Tyranids or Space Marines, and Tyranids won, and so the Tyranids went first, and then Space Marines. After that, they came out with the roadmap, and it was this really cool little graphic that showed all the different codexes coming out, and they updated it once or twice as it moved along to kind of say who was next, and so we knew that we were going to get, you know, Mechanicum, and we were going to get Sisters, and we were going to get Orcs, and Tau, and Chaos, and all that stuff. And the last couple of times they've shown it off, the last entry had Codex Redacted, which ended up being the Imperial whatever, you know, the Inquisitors and all that stuff. Imperial Agents, that's the word I'm looking for, which is really cool. But yeah, that's it. That was the last thing on the roadmap. And there have been no new roadmaps come out since, even though they've already announced the next Codex, which is Blood Angels. Now, old Big Mek happens to really like Blood Angels because, well, they're red, so they go faster. And, yeah, they like to do choppy things, which is very orcish. And, yeah, this is a really ridiculously cool army box. And I'd be lying if I said that I didn't want that. I really want that. I would love to start yet another army. And, yeah, I mean, look at that. That's cool as all get out. There's Chaplain Lamarty's with the new style jump pack. And Astorath the Grim, who looks really, really cool. Again, with the new style jump pack that I really like with the little extra flappy-doo thingies on it. And yeah, the new Death Company guys, really rad. You can have them with jump pack or just on foot. And then all the cool different upgrade sprue pieces. I really like the Terminator body included. That's really cool. And yeah, then the Furiosa Dread. I was sad that we didn't get a true Death Company Dread. But, you know, it's cool. It's cool. The artwork, really rad. Really, really, really like this Codex. And yeah, that's just interesting that we've had this roadmap for a year teasing what was coming out so that people were anticipating it. And then they dropped this Blood Angels out of nowhere. I say out of nowhere, but anybody that watches Chapter Master Valrak knows that Blood Angels have been coming for years. But yeah, it's interesting that we got a new Codex that wasn't even on the roadmap. And so now not only is the roadmap run out with Imperial Agents, we are one Codex past it, and we still don't know what is coming up next. We don't know when Imperial Guard is getting a Codex. We don't know when Eldari is getting a Codex. We don't know any of the other armies that haven't gotten one yet when they're going to get them. And yeah, I'm sure that there's a lot of people that would like to know when that is going to happen, so that they can be anticipating, you know, their favorite army. So, I mean, I know as a Guard player myself, I'd really like to know when the Astra Militarum Codex comes out because, I really don't like the index, and I haven't touched my army since 10th came out because of it. So yeah, like getting a Codex would be a good way of like remotivating that army. Just like the Orc Codex, you know, remotivated the Orc army. So, you know, hopefully we get a new roadmap soon so that we know what's coming out next so we can get all hyped up for it. All right, last and definitely not least, this was actually the whole impetus on doing this news segment, to be perfectly honest with you, is the best game in the world comes out next week for early play on August 6th. And of course, I'm talking about Warhammer 40,000 Speed Freaks. Here we go. The red ones go faster! And we'll stop that there so we don't get sued by anyone or a copyright strike. Not that they do that. But yeah, you can go watch that on Warhammer Community right now, or go watch it on Steam. They've got all the trailers on there as well. It's a really, really super fun game. Old Big Mek was in the alpha playtest and the beta playtest. We talked about it on our Discord server pretty in depth. It's a really, really awesome game. If you played old school way back in the day, like Interstate 76, it's a lot like that. You're driving around in a buggy in the middle of the desert, Mad Max style. You got all the weapons, and each vehicle plays really differently, and they are super on it and in the lore. You've got all the new buggies, your custom boosted Blasta, Shock Jump Dragsta, the Death Killer War Track, the Wreck Truck Squid Buggy. They're all there. And you've got the Battle Wagon, which is rad. A looted tank, which is amazing because that's not even in the Codex anymore, and the Grot Mega Tank. And then they even put in Stampas. I'm telling you, it's just absolutely amazing. The world building is insanely cool. It's all orcs right now. You're just fighting with each other, which is perfect. And yeah, there's a lot of different play styles in it. They have these like race style ones. They have these ones with the Stampas. They have ones where you're like capture the flagging. But yeah, so you've got like Def Rally, which is a 16-player like control for capture the flag, which is really cool. And then there's the 2 Stampas in the Kill Convoy, and that's 8 racers each, but you're trying to actually get the Stampas to win. It's the Stampas racing, not you. You're like trying to screw up the other Stampa. It's really wild. But yeah, it's available on Steam. You can like go and pay for it and order it and set it up all right now. The game actually unlocks on August 6th, which we are recording and putting this out on the 3rd. So you got 3 days away from the greatest game of all time coming out. It's going to be an absolute blast. You will definitely see Old Big Mek playing that game and doing full in-depth reviews on it. And we will definitely be talking about it in next week's episode of Da News. All right, and with that, that's all the news fit for Warhammer for this week. We'll catch you in the next one. Until next time, Wagon!